Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Idiosyncratic Fables, a part of Wilderness Fire Productions, where we are cultivating the passion for books, audiobooks, and storytelling. Since time immemorial, we have been storytellers. Everybody has a story to tell, and I want to hear yours. I'm your host, James, and today we are lighting things up with one of the most versatile, talented, and downright addictive voices in the audiobook world. She's narrated over 500 titles, gone from franchise talent agent and casting director to full-time SAG-AFTRA narrator, and somehow still finds time to front rock bands, dive with sharks, and mentor the next generation of storytellers. Her voice has been called snarky, sexy, sweet, and everything in between, and today, she's bringing all of it to the mic. Let's spark the narrative, folks. Please welcome the one and only Meghan Kelly. Meghan, thank you so much for carving out time to hang out with us today.
You are just an angel face. That was so sweet. Thank you for all that.
You're quite welcome, my friend. So I've been dying to ask you this since I first heard your narration. How does someone go from being the person who hires the talent to becoming the talent everyone's fighting to book?
Oh, you're very sweet. I started as a, musical theater kid in high school, and I went to a musical last night with a friend of mine and saw The Music Man, and I actually was in that when I was like 16 years old. So it brought back all this flood of memories because I was kind of that girl in high school. I was lucky enough to start singing with another girl, and we literally sang at everything. We sang at football games, and we sang at our all-night high school party. And that was my first band, and I was in every theater production. And then I also studied opera back then. And I kind of graduated high school thinking that I had some, skills.
Right.
And then I went to a college in Michigan here at Western Michigan University, and quickly realized I was not at the top of my game. I was not on the same level as a majority of the people there because I didn't get cast in anything, and I didn't get into the jazz group that I tried out for, and I competed in opera, and they were like, you might want to rethink this. And it crushed me.
Oh, wow.
So I switched majors, I switched schools, and I completely just lost myself. I didn't know what to do. So, I graduated with a degree in communications and didn't sing again in public for 12 years.
Wow.
And thought I was crushed. I didn't know what to do with myself. Even after getting my degree, it took me 2 years to figure out what to do next. I waited tables and hung out with friends. And then I thought the only thing that keeps my interest, the only thing that I care about is entertainment. So I was like, I'll go to the other side of the business. And God bless 25-year-old's gumption, because I just up and moved to New York City. I had one connection, and it was like a friend of a friend type thing at a casting office. And I just, like I said, when you're 25, you're just like, I can do it.
Yeah.
So I walked into this office and somehow managed to get a job. And I lived in New York for 2 years and worked for different casting offices and a couple talent agencies. They're different entities in New York, but I learned both sides of the business. But I was not a New Yorker. I did not know the area. I didn't make a lot of friends. And I met a lot of famous people, and I saw incredible shows, and that aspect of it was super cool.
Sure.
But I missed home. So I moved home after a couple of years, and then worked one job that was a quote real job and hated it. And I went around, there's a couple of SAG franchised agencies here in the Detroit area. And I walked in and dropped off my resume and had a phone call for an interview before I even got home. And that's where I got into that. And I worked at that agency for about 6 years, from working the front desk all the way up to running the film television and radio department. But throughout all the auditions that I ran, I was constantly throwing out ideas, trying to help. I mean, I loved my actors and I loved trying to help them get work, but I would throw out these like ideas because it's it kind of gets repetitive. People's performances, when they read a script, it gets similar. And me having watching everybody, I could throw out different ideas. And I had enough clients ask me if I would audition for mostly I was attracted to the voice work.
Right.
That it kind of stuck in the back of my head. And also during that time period, I lost a bet. My best friends knew that I sang, but it was only like at karaoke with a few cocktails kind of thing.
Oh, of course.
But I mean, I was terrified to do it again because I thought I wasn't good enough. And I lost this bet and with my friend and I had to audition for a band. I auditioned for one band. She went with me, held my hands through the whole thing, and somehow I managed to get into this band that turned into 15 years of singing again.
Right.
So after just being burnt out and really missing, like having a taste of the performance world again of my own, that's when I kind of like, I was just burnt out from trying to do too much at the agency. And I wanted to see if maybe I could do it. So I gave myself in my head a couple years to see if I could be a voiceover artist. And that's when I went to that side. It was a whim.
Yeah.
See if I could do it. But I already kind of had a step ahead because while running auditions, not only did I meet clients, not only did I learn how to use the software to record, I mean, it really gave me a step ahead. And I had an agent already.
Right.
So, I got a fair amount of work. I'm not saying I was off the charts impressive, but I had some, industrials and some commercials, and it was fun to see yourself on TV and hear yourself in the radio. And I was also a voracious reader. So we're talking like 2009 to 2012. Mm-hmm. I was kind of just singing and doing voiceover work. And in 2012 is when I found audiobooks.
I love that. So all of those
long story.
No, it's perfect. So with all of those performances combined, the opera, the rock bands, all encompassing, how would you say those performance worlds show up in your narration style today, especially with that snarky, sassy, and sexy vibe listeners love?
You're so sweet. I think the snarky vibe is just me and my personality. I tend to like to make people laugh. And so I just, my husband, poor dear, I'm constantly just tickling and pushing buttons and stuff like that. And it's just fun for me to make people laugh. I did start out, I think, I don't know, something about my voice when I was younger, at least, men tend to gravitate towards. So I was told a lot that I had a sexy voice. And I did start in romance and did a lot of erotica and that kind of stuff. That's why a lot of people don't know when I started in 2012, it's under a different name. It's all the stuff that I try to stay as far away from now. But I did a lot of erotica. I had several clients while still doing, the commercials and the singing on the weekends.
Sure.
So, and I think the music just, in the training with the opera and singing, it's just learning good techniques, breathing, and that kind of stuff just naturally flowed into I'm amazed at how many singers are also very good voice artists. But I think you just learn how to train your voice, learn how to breathe, and you learn how to look at scripts in a musical sense with beats and knowing what's coming and know how to make a flow that's not too lyrical, but to make it interesting.
Right. I was talking to another audiobook narrator friend of mine, Evelyn, and she's also a singer like you are. And she was telling me that when musicians come into the narration field, because I'm a drummer, we have the benefit of the reading ahead or sight reading, if you will. And so it's just a little bit easier to find that pacing, to find that flow while we're doing what we do.
I agree.
Would you say that's the true?
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. And also I have to mention my husband's a drummer. So
what fun.
I think we might have touched on that at some point, but
I think we briefly talked about it on the cruise a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He has 3 kits in our basement and the other half is my studio. So
fantastic. So walk us through a typical day in your custom home studio, the 2019 vocal booth with the Audio-Technica 4033. How long does it actually take to produce one finished hour of audio? And what's the part of the process that still surprises you after all these titles?
I don't know. That I get booked at all, that I'm still doing this, that I have anybody that listens to me or knows who I am. I mean, I just love this work. It once I found it, it just clicked. It just felt right. It met all my needs. It was my performance aspirations, and it was I don't sing anymore either. I gave that up about 6 years ago now because it just wasn't filling that happy place anymore. Books still do that for me, especially fun books, because I've kind of carved it into my lane of I like doing mysteries and cozy mysteries and paranormal, and I really like that lane because the characters are so quirky and funny, and the stories have vampires and dragons and cats. All of this
course.
I love, and that stuff. If I get a book that's like super snarky and funny and has the paranormal aspect, I'm just happy as a clam. I could do this all day, every day, which I do. I don't know if that's a typical day. I mean, I do tend to do this almost every day. You have to put me on a cruise ship to get me to stop. I'm obsessed with the work.
As am I. I have recently fallen in love with the lit RPG genre. It has easily become my favorite one to narrate, and I am craving to do as much as possible.
Do you think of yourself as a gamer?
Oh, 100%. I've been a gamer since the first Nintendo came out back in 1986 and haven't put down a controller since.
I was asked to work on a couple lit RPGs, and they are just not a good fit for me because I don't game at all. It doesn't compute, but it's still like we're cousins in our genres because it's still fantasy, it's still paranormal, it's still I love that aspect of it, but the world building in the gameplay, it just confused me. So I actually walked away from one book because of it, and I turned down a couple like huge auditions just because I was like, I'm not your girl. I don't think I'm a good fit, but I know people love it.
How long would you say it takes you to produce one finished hour of audio?
It depends on if I'm working for a publisher or if it's one of my indie authors, because I do my own editing.
Okay.
So if it's one of my indie authors, I still don't know. I don't keep track because I'm one of those crazy people that works on more than one book at a time. So I do a couple hours in the morning of one book and a couple hours of another book in the afternoon. And then in the evenings, I edit it all. So I usually just say somewhere between 3 and 6 for one finished hour, just to be safe, because I don't really keep track. And with my calendar, I ask for a ridiculous long window for every book, just so I get everything in on time, no matter what I'm working on. And if it's early, it only looks that much better.
Well, you're not alone. I'm just as guilty. My pseudonym narrates in the morning, and then I narrate in the afternoons. So I'm right there with you.
I like it. It keeps it interesting for me. Usually the harder book is in the morning, whatever that is, the harder. Like I recently did a police procedural, and just the terminology is more difficult. And I find myself having to redo parts more than, I mean, I know the whole genre of cozy mysteries, and I know it's just easy and it flows, but I love something like a police procedural because I love it. It's gritty and dark, and that kind of stuff is fun, but it's not as easy of a flow for me.
Sure. Now, you're also known for incredible character voices, especially realistic male voices, accents, and giving emotional truth to every story. What's your prep process like when you open a new script?
I think of people. I trained once with January Lavoie, who I think is just a goddess and one of the most brilliant narrators in our field. And I was so pleasantly surprised that like I think kind of the same way she does. It's like I think if when I'm reading a book, people who I know or even movie characters or television people pop in my head. And that's usually where I go with character work. I'm hearing somebody, seeing or thinking of somebody in my head, and that's the voice that comes out. Guys are not as easy, it's more attitude because there's only so much a female can do with a, gravelly, deep voice. I don't have a gravelly, deep voice, but you kind of play it like he's a gravelly, deep
Right.
voice. But that's my go-to. I don't know, characteristics of the characters in books, it just reminds me of somebody else, and I just think of them while I'm doing their character. And I'm one that always saves every voice that I do because I do forget what I've done with them, especially with cozy mysteries. They tend to go, I have a couple series that are in their 20s that I've been doing for years. And then, of course, a character will pop up from book 3 that I did 4 years ago. And for the most part, I still have clips of every character I've ever done. It's fun though. That's also what I enjoy. I know there are some narrators who are less distinct with their characters, but each one has their own voice, pretty much.
Yeah. Now, you've said that recording could take anywhere between 3 to 6 hours per finished hour.
Well, that's the finished hour. It's not recording.
Right. So for the finished hour, what would you say is the biggest narration nightmare moment you've had in the booth, and how did you recover?
Biggest nightmare I've had in the booth. I don't know if it's in the booth, but I after just saying that I save all my character files, I have lost at least 2 hard drives. And the last time it happened, I was in the middle of 2 books and I lost it. That kind of thing has happened to me. And now I'm like back up like 4 different ways, everything. Because it's just such a nightmare to have to start over. And there's been a couple instances where I've been able to save some stuff because I don't know if you've ever had this experience with the hard drive. Like you have 3 minutes, or it feels like you have 3 minutes to save before you're never going to be able to utilize this again. That's been like the hardest thing for me. And just technical difficulties with my software or my hardware, frankly. I'd been using the same setup for like 12 years, and the computer just said, that's it, you're done. And Ryan May was my hero. I mean, but I was just in a panic because he's like, well, just, reset up your system. And I'm like, but I don't know how. I didn't set it up the first time, and I don't touch settings, and everything was brand new. So just tech stuff like that is terrifying for me. I just want it up and running and easy. I know what I know, and I do that pretty well and easily, and the flow is easy and good. I've done enough books that I got my prep down. I know what my day is going to be, but God forbid my tech go bad. I'm at a loss and I panic. It was poor Ryan. He's such a sweet, gentle soul, and he's going on the cruise, and I can't wait to see him. I met him once before at APEC for like 5 minutes, but he's just been my hero so many times. That man deserves a lot of kudos. Very, very good man.
Your recent 2025 ABR awards for both Best Thriller and Best Narrator on No Way Out by TJ Brereton?
Yes. Brereton.
Okay, Brereton. Sorry, TJ. They both sound intense. Kidnapping, remote cabin, high-stakes suspense. What drew you to that project? And what was it like having, living inside that tension for the recording?
I love it. I mean, it's a little different from the snarky side of me, but
Sure.
I actually went directly to TJ, and just said I'd really love to work on this book because for me, it's a new lane. I did romance for so long and then kind of shifted over to the paranormal and cozy mystery stuff. And now I'm like, but because when I listen to my audiobooks, I'm almost 90% of the time I'm listening to a psychological thriller or a thriller because that's what gets me excited. And I'm like, but I never get to do them. I
Hmm.
wonder if I'd be any good at it. So I've kind of been trying to get more and more of them. And I went to him and he was kind enough to give me 2 books. And lo and behold, I guess I did okay. It's turned into a few other thrillers. And I'm just excited. Doing a new genre is exciting as long as you're comfortable in that. Like, don't hand me a nonfiction book. That's not gonna excite me. That's gonna scare me. But yeah, this thriller genre, it's, I guess, just from listening to so many of them myself, I just wanted to kind of see how I did in that genre as well. And it gets me excited.
That's awesome. You've also crushed it in romance, cozy mysteries, especially the paranormal ones with talking cats, thrillers, comedy, and women's fiction. Is there one genre or even subgenre that still feels like home for you, and why?
I do love talking animals. It's fun. I've done several series with like witches with their cat familiars. And being a cat person, my boys aren't with me in the studio today, but they usually are. I have a Maine Coon and then I have a Ginger Fluff. And my poor husband, I talk for them constantly. I say their thoughts or what I think their thoughts are. And I do it for other people's pets and I do it for small children. And every once in a while, I'll try to do it for my husband. He's like, "You don't know what I'm thinking. Stop it." But you get so into just doing that I know their voices in my head. I just talk for them. It's just fun for me. So yeah, talking um, cozy mysteries with cat familiars is very dear to me. I just have fun with it. Cozy mysteries in general have become my number one love. I don't turn them down.
That's awesome. I can relate maybe a little to the talking cats or speaking for them as far as what their thoughts are, because we have 6 here at the house.
Wow, that's a lot.
It is, and that how we came about to have 6 is a whole different story in and of itself. But back to you and more
Well,
book
if I could share
amazing.
about the
Yeah.
reason I don't have 6 cats, because I would, is because when I got my Maine Coon, I'd heard they're almost like dogs, and I'd heard they're very big. And his name is Gustav Tigre, aka
Yes,
Tig. He needed a big name. He's a fancy cat.
of
And
course.
I was having surgery when we first got him, and he was very young, 2 pounds, just this itty bitty sick. So basically, we spent a week together, secluded in a room, and we bonded. And he is my buddy. He follows me usually to work every day and sits in the window while I record. And he cuddles with me at night. And he's just my boy. And I've never had that kind of bond with a cat before. Not that I don't love my Sammy too, I do. But Tiggy's my boy, and I'm so I don't want to mess up this relationship with him by bringing in
Right.
another cat. I'm afraid it would change. Because of him, I don't get other cats, even though I love them and I would love to
Mm,
have more. But he's very special to me. And he is like a dog. He does follow me around. His personality is so funny. I just adore that. I love my cat a little too much.
that's awesome. Any and all cat talk. And dear listener, this goes for you too. Any conversations about cats is always welcome on this podcast as well.
I do love them.
Oh, yeah. And we've got, like I said, 6. We've got Ichigo, Maximus, Gilbert, Renji, Pixie, and Whimsy.
great names.
Yeah. Anytime we would get a new one, we would go down just the Rolodex of random names and see which ones their ears would perk up to, and that's what it became.
Do each of you have one or more that's kind of yours?
We do. Maximus is mine. Ichigo belongs to my wife. Gilbert, my son. Renji, my youngest daughter. And then Pixie and Whimsy are my oldest daughter.
And they like tend to follow you and be with you, and that's awesome.
They do. They're so precious. You've won or been nominated for several awards now, such as ABR, Sultry Listeners, etc. What does it mean to you when listeners or reviewers say your narration almost outshines the story, or that your comedic timing and sarcasm are perfect?
I think people are very kind, but I mean, I, like everybody else, have a huge imposter syndrome. I don't feel that I'm one of the best or anything remotely close. It's like I had a reviewer, a pretty prevalent reviewer the other day, say to me, "Gosh, you've done over 500 books," and I'm like, "Yeah, it's actually closer to 700." And he's like, "I'm surprised I've never heard of you." And I'm like, "That's the story of my life." They either have never, even though I've been doing this for almost 14 years and I have so many books, in the big scheme of things, I'm not really noticed very much. And I'm okay with that because I love what I do and I love the work. I wouldn't mind being noticed a little more. And so it's hard for me to even, like, the few small acknowledgments that I have gotten, and the kind, I do have a following of some amazing people who say such amazing things, but then I have other people who think I'm terrible. So it's imposters. I don't know how to, I don't know. I'm just grateful to do the work that I am lucky enough to do. But of course I get a little jealous watching other people work with every publisher under the sun and win every accolade and award. And I can't get a response from, I've been, for the last 3 years, it's been my one wish just to work with one new publisher, just one. And it hasn't happened. So then I have to remind myself that I'm so lucky, and there's a lot of people who would love to have what I have, and I need to stop it. But we'll see. I don't plan on stopping anytime soon, and I am grateful that those that love me.
Yeah, because there will never be another Meghan Kelly audiobook narrator.
Oh, thank you for following it up with that, because there is that other one the Fox reporter, who I do get mistaken for a lot. And it's so annoying. I'm like, do you not know how she spells her name? And our politics are polar opposites, and I don't like her either, people. No. But so that's, I guess, one plus, though, is that people go, "I feel like I know your name." And I'm like, I don't think you know my name, but I guess any recognition is recognition.
Yeah.
It'll at least get a conversation flowing.
That it does. So along with being a narrator, you're also an APA ambassador and mentor.
I was. I haven't done it in a few years.
Gotcha. Well, I may strike this question, or we can roll with it if you want. It's what's the most common mistake you see new narrators making, and what's the one piece of advice you wish someone had given you when you were starting out?
I wish somebody would have told me to get into coaching sooner. I mean, I back in 2012, 2013, ACX was shiny and new, and there weren't that many of us, and the books were of such great quality. And I was very lucky that once I started started auditioning, I booked my first audition. And it didn't stop. So I just did very well out of the gate. I thought I knew everything, which I didn't. I didn't know anything. Those books are so embarrassing now. Oh, and one other side note, the first 3 mainstream books I didn't do through ACX. I found somebody online somehow, and they totally took me. I never made a dime off any of them. Thank God, though, because they're terrible books. I listen to them now. And they spelled my name wrong. So but it's a blessing now. But at the time, you're just like, oh oh my God,
Yeah.
my work isn't even, I'm not getting paid. But it was a learning curve. Now I forgot the question.
No, it's
Oh,
okay.
what I wish I'd known when I started. I wish I'd gotten into coaching. I wish I didn't, the nuance. I remember, I think it was Andy Arndt when I coached with her that like turned on a light bulb in my head that I just didn't realize I was doing. I'm great with characters. That part I've never had a problem with, but I didn't realize that the narration is also a character. So for years, it was learning how to also bring life to the narration portion of books.
Right.
And it was like this, we're talking like 4 or 5 years into my career that light bulb was finally turned on. And I could just, if only I'd known sooner, maybe my path would have changed. I never went to APAC until 5, 6 years into it. I didn't realize all the things that I didn't know. And had I coached or mentored, which is what I tried to give back to the people that I mentored, was just, you need to network. You need to know the other people in the industry. They're not just going to magically show up on your doorstep unless you are just, so unique and special. That's rare. You need to put yourself out there and you need to get in front of their faces all the time because there's now a gajillion of us.
Oh, yeah.
And it's hard to stay relevant with all the new and shinies coming up.
Correct. So with
But that was a
being
big one for me, learning the difference between telling a story in the narration and just reading the narration.
Yeah. So with that being said, would you agree the audiobook industry has changed a lot since you began?
Totally.
I mean,
100%.
we've seen everything from royalty share versus PFH, self-pub explosion, and now the rise of AI voices, etc. What excites you most about where narration is headed and or what concerns you?
I feel very comfortable that my job is secure for the foreseeable future, just because I know AI is there and I know some people utilize it, but I saw somebody post this on one of the social media, and she said something to the effect of, I have yet to see one author, even one, rave about how great their AI narration is. Whereas, because AI doesn't have feelings, doesn't empath, can't, they can read. That's what it can do. And I'm sure it'll get slightly better, but it's not the same as a human performance.
It's not.
Especially if there's, you need snark or be funny or accents. They just don't have the capacity. And I don't feel threatened by AI, but I'm a little bit more established. For newer people, I'm sure it's a little harder to get work. But I've just learned over the years what I'm good at, and I go after that, even if it's going directly to the author and just kind of throwing my hat in the ring to consider, to be thoughtful.
Yeah.
And I think we'll be okay, at least for a while.
I think so too. I still have the pin that Emma Faye handed out at the cruise a couple years ago that says AI can't cry.
That's true. Yep.
I love that as a constant reminder.
It was a moment for me when I read that post, because I was like, you are so right. I've never heard of anybody saying, oh, my AI narration is so great, you need to pick it up. Because I think once they use it, they're kind of like, if they listen to it. Because there are those authors who can't listen to their own work. So, AI is fine because they're not going to listen to it anyway.
Right.
But I'm just over AI in general. I'm over people online utilizing AI constantly and just throwing it in my face. I have an avatar that I use. I'm sure you know. I had an artist. I gave her pictures of me and she drew that avatar of me. It's not, I don't want to take anybody's job away from anybody. I want our artists to be true to artists.
100%, yes.
People are going to think that avatar is an AI creation when it's not. And I was I've had it for so long, and I wish I could remember her name, but I was just charmed to pieces when she showed me what she'd done.
Yeah, your avatar actually reminds me of the caricature drawings that you would see often in like strip malls or
At
at Ren
fairs and stuff
fairs.
like that.
Yeah,
Yep,
exactly.
I
That's
agree.
exactly what it reminds me of.
But I hope people can tell it's hand drawn.
So, along with being a narrator, you're also a certified scuba diver, correct?
I am.
Maine Coon cat connoisseur,
I
former
am.
cheerleader, improv comedian, and trivia champ, among many other things. Which of your non-narration skills or hobbies secretly makes you a better narrator?
Probably the cat connoisseur,
Okay.
considering my lane. But I mean, I'm excited. I most of the skills are from when I was younger, and I hadn't scuba dived. You brought that up first. In many years until we just celebrated our 10th anniversary in Hawaii, and I got back out in the water, and it was like the first time since the pandemic that I'd been diving, and oh God, I love it. I first dove when I was 13,
Okay.
so I've been doing it since I was young, and then just taking that break and getting back in the water. And I know my partner, my scuba leader, was very impressed that I didn't go through my air immediately. But to me, being in the water is just so lovely. And being 40, 50 feet down in the water and seeing life there, it really gets me excited. It has nothing to do with my narration career. I'm sorry I went off path there, but I'm excited because on the cruise this year, we're going, when I was 13, I was in Grand Cayman, and that's where I first dove, and that's where I first got certified. This cruise is going to Grand Cayman, and so I booked 2 tank dive. So I'm going to dive for the first time in like 20 years
Oh, wow.
back in Grand Cayman again, just to do it, just to remind me of my younger self again.
Oh, what
and what got
fun.
me so excited about it.
I love that. So authors and listeners often say your voice brings characters to life in a way that feels effortless. Is there a particular character voice or accent that you're most proud of?
I do have one actually. I have been working with Amanda Lee on the take this part out, James, because I gotta and I can't read. Oh, that's right. I do 5 different series for her, so it gets a little in my head sometimes. But I do the Spells Angels, Cozy Mysteries, and I started that with her I think in 2019. And there is a character called Aunt Tilly who is just off the wall bonkers, older witch, and just filterless. And Aunt Tilly will talk to anybody anytime, and she just doesn't care what you think. So it's just going into her is just fun for me because she is an insane, crazy, fun character. And there's like no limits to what you can do with her. I can be
I
as
love it.
extreme as I want. And it's just fun.
That's beautiful. If a brand new author or listener is just discovering your work, which 2 or 3 titles would you point them to first and why?
Oh, that's so hard. We've done as many books as I have because it changes. Right now I'm excited about, I just did a book. It's a psychological thriller called Grabtown by Sarah P. Blanchard. And it is just uncomfortable. It's a great story. It's set in 2 different time periods, and it's got some, sadly it's got some human trafficking in there, but it's set partly in the 80s and partly currently, and it's one of those stories so well written. I was just excited to work on it because it's one of those prickly, uncomfortable books that you don't know what's going to happen, but there's just enough of a tease that it's exciting. And I mean, it was hard for me though. It was a hard book, but I'm just really proud of it because I worked so hard on it.
Right.
So I would point people to that one currently. I I did love the TJ Burton books. I just think he's great at these are both thrillers, so not even my mainstay, but they get me excited. He was very good at building anticipation, and just, you knew there was always something around the corner and you didn't quite know what it was. So that's fun. And then, like I said, the extreme characters are always fun too. I'm lucky enough to be in the 20s in some of these series for the cozy mysteries that I've worked on, and just having these characters in my life for so long, I love them. Hopefully every series ends, or I've had to walk away from a couple that I loved, but giving up these characters, I don't want to let them go. But those two thrillers, they really excited me. And I've got a couple books coming up that I'm excited about too. Alley Cat and Tasha, forgive me, I'm blanking on the second name. I have a series that's coming up with them that is a cozy mystery. And I remember one of the things that one line in the blurb got me excited. And she has a cat familiar who might be a dragon.
Oh.
I know. And I was like, oh, that sounds so fun. I have no idea what that means. But just that line alone was enough to get me like, heck yeah.
Absolutely.
Can't get enough paranormal, vampires, witches, dragons, cat. I just can't get enough of it. It's my happy place.
If you could pick any book or book genre as like a dream, like penultimate project, what would it be and why?
I don't know. I've been asked this question before, and every time I'm just like, I don't know. I as long as I'm in my happy place with give me the vampires, the witches, the dragons, those are usually the things that get me excited. Or I guess in the next phase, if I could get more psychological thrillers, just because I get so excited about them. And I think your own excitement passes through in the work. That's kind of why I changed lanes away from romance, because I think I just got a little too burnt of doing too many. And I just, once I found cozy mysteries and could be more quirky and funny, and the competition in my lane is everybody wants to work in romance these days, and more power to you. You guys fight it out. I'd rather stay over here and be funny or titillating in some way. That's exciting for me now. I don't mind doing the occasional romance. It's still fun, but a perfect book for me is either something I get to be funny with the paranormal aspects, or something where I get to be just building that thrill, that not knowing what's coming next of the psychological thrillers. And I love a good twist. If you can give me either of those lanes, I will be a very happy camper.
Fantastic. Last couple of questions to wrap it up. Kind of like a lightning round of sorts, but it doesn't have to be super quick. So, number one, snarky, sexy, or sweet? Which one are you channeling most this week?
Thinking about the books I'm working on. The books I'm working on this week. One is a Christian faith romantic suspense.
Interesting combination.
It is. So I'm like, snarky, sexy, or sweet? None of the above.
Fair enough.
It's more of a thriller feel, and the other book is a straight up thriller. So I guess I'm outside of my three. They're both thrillers this week, which is odd because I usually have a cozy thrown in there somewhere. But both this week I get to be new and different.
Fantastic.
Sorry, that was a dud.
No, it's okay. And lastly, what's one thing people would be shocked to learn about the audiobook narration lifestyle?
I wear pajamas almost 24/7.
Hip, hip, hooray for pajamas.
I don't, it's an exciting day if I go outside and I see people, because I'm just, I see my husband and I see my cats, and My personal trainer comes to the house. My masseuse comes to my house. So if I actually leave the house and have a night out, it's a big deal. Like I did last night. That was fun. I have to remind myself that there's a world outside of my booth.
Yeah. It's kind of unique for me because I'm very much an extrovert. And so anytime I'm outside the booth, I'm like, ooh, people, where's the people? People, people, people.
I'm a people person too. It's just, I mean, you and I met, I think, because we're both extroverts. I'm not
Correct.
a shy person. It's just that I have so fallen in love with this work. And the older you get, you don't have as many friends. And it could also be that I spent 15 years in bars every weekend. And I just got over it. It was performing every weekend and turning it on. And I loved it at the time. And now it's like, I'm hard pressed to step foot into that atmosphere. It's just not my thing anymore. But
Yeah.
when I go on the cruise, like when I met you, I'm bouncing around. I love to meet new people.
Well, of course. Meghan, you have been an absolute delight to have on the show and just to talk and get to know you a little bit better. I appreciate you. Thank you.
I adore you, James. You know that.
Thanks.
I'm so tickled to have been a part of this. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. It was absolute my pleasure. And thank you, dear listener, for tuning in to this episode. If you enjoyed it, I ask that you please rate, review, and subscribe. It would help us reach many more storytellers just like you. You can drop us a line on social media or email about who you'd love to hear next, or if you would like to be a guest on the show, you can do that too. Also, I host a Discord server where I showcase my behind-the-scenes work of audiobook narration. I invite you to click the link in the show notes because I would love to have you as a part of that community. And as always, everybody has a story to tell, and I want to hear yours. So until I talk to you next time, dear listener, peace be with you.